Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm just going to briefly walk you through how a universal BI portal can really fill in kind of that critical missing piece of a company's BI plan. I'll do just a few slides and I'll go right to the platform. So first, quick background on us. We currently serve numerous large enterprises across different verticals, which have included a subset here, just for your quick review. So I want to talk about really the challenge that we address here. So typically, the many large clients that we work with kind of come to us typically in this state where just kind of the many different pieces of their BI tools and reports kind of just grown at different directions and at different speeds. And so they commonly just kind of have this situation that's just compounded by that they commonly don't really know anymore what's new, what's a copy, what's still in progress, and what's expired. And even all of that can even just be happening in one BI tool. So the impact of that kind of scenario that we see typically is twofold. First, a BI team can very quickly become overwhelmed and can do things like add Band-Aid reports to fight fires, which can in turn only further add to clutter. Also, in turn, valuable content can get buried, and you and your users can begin to not know what to trust. And so consequently, we see that it can be a lot easier for business users to kind of just pick up the phone and bother a BI team to get the answers they need in the time they need them. So of course, all of that has knock-on effects in BI, ROI, adoption, engagement, time spent, and similar. And so therefore, really kind of pivoting or shifting to metric insights here, I'm just going to kind of visualize for you here really how we approach and address this kind of scenario. So for today's demo, I'm going to show you what it's like to really connect to BI tools, applications, data, really everything you have in your environment both today and in the future, and to do so in a portal that you can deploy either on-premise or in private cloud, of course, both behind your existing firewall. Kind of next layer up, I'll show you the advantages of cataloging really all of your BI reports and important metrics. And then kind of at a high level, I'll show you how to publish and present content in a governed and curated way, because really, many of our clients will invest millions of dollars into their BI departments, and they can really be impedimenting their users by not cataloging and governing their BI landscapes likewise. So with that, I'll jump right to the platform. Change tabs on my browser here. Okay. So for today's little demo, I'm going to show you the platform really from two different points of view. We'll start kind of from the content creator's point of view. And then in a few minutes, I'll show you kind of the platform more from kind of the BI like end user or consumer's point of view. But really, we'll start from the publisher's point of view here. So for this screen, I'm going to log on here conventionally. However, this screen could just as easily be your existing SSO experience, provided your company has one. Let's go ahead and log on. And so for this account, I'm currently logged in as an admin. And so I currently have access to all of the content and functionalities of this account. And then, like I said before, in a few minutes, we'll log in as a BI end user. And I'll kind of show you how you can really, customize, curate, and focus their attention on really everything that they just need to be involved with and see. So to start, this view here is going to be what we're going to call our catalog view. And it's going to be the one place where we're going to publish and organize all of our content, really regardless of where it's coming from. And so you'll see kind of in the middle of my screen here, each of these tiles that we call them, really each of them represents like one BI report or a BI asset that we've chosen as publishers to publish into this catalog to make available to our various end users, typically, again, based off our company's existing security access tree. So as a quick review here, you're going to see I have content coming from Tableau, Qlik, Power BI, perhaps other reporting applications. Perhaps somewhere in my company, maybe there is a data science team publishing and creating things like our Shiny or React apps. And we can also connect to those in the catalog and take advantage of other features I'm going to show you here in a minute too, with all of that. As well as perhaps maybe there is like a PDF, maybe like a spreadsheet, maybe on a SharePoint or file share somewhere. And we can also connect to those and bring those into the catalog to kind of, again, create one central place, for all of our BI users to connect to their important BI assets, again, specific to their role, which I'll talk about in a minute. So again, this will be the one place we're going to catalog all of our assets. And next, I'm going to talk to you for a minute about really, what happens when we go to kind of connect to one of these BI reports. Let's open one up. I'm going to click on maybe this Power BI one. Again, a single click. And what happens when I do is that the plugin that we maintain for all of these BI tools then collects all the metadata around what is available for this specific BI report. And so, for example, you're seeing it's picking up the report's title here in the top left, then kind of middle right, perhaps any existing description that this report has on the data tool of origin source. But then Metric Insights, you can also do things like layer on a glossary of business terms across, universally every single BI asset in your catalog, again, regardless of where that report or whatever it is actually lives. And then as users, they browse the specific BI reports they have access to, they can see perhaps what kind of business term is attached to which asset, and they can even click on one, and they'll then load from their browser a quick kind of breakdown of really definitions and terms and what exists where, as well as they can also quickly see a short list of maybe where else in the BI environment they have access to, also makes use of these similar terms, which of course helps give context for users to learn kind of how to best use each asset, as well as helps promote data literacy amongst your entire organization. Next, beneath those terms, we can see a quick short list of perhaps various stakeholders, and maybe kind of what kind of data component that they own in each report or asset. And so if users, as they're navigating their catalogs, if they maybe have like a concern or doubt, they can then see perhaps who they could raise that question to perhaps get it answered for them, depending on what that stakeholder perhaps owns or governs. A little bit further down, we're seeing maybe some specific commentary, as well as if your organization makes use of custom fields, which is very common. We can also apply custom fields now, again, universally across really your entire BI landscape, and then be able to connect that kind of custom field ability to any asset, again, regardless of where it lives, to again further give users, as they navigate their catalogs, more context into kind of what report uses what kind of custom field, as well as maybe how they should be using reports in terms of like shown here, either perhaps data security or perhaps like PI data, containment wise. So of course, we pick up a preview image of what a report contains. And then as users navigate around, they can click that preview image. And it'll then load in their browser a live example of that report for them to interact with, just like they would interacting with the tool directly, but now here staying with the Metric Insights, thereby giving users now one uniform experience, as well as preventing them from getting lost in different tools to perhaps kind of hunt around and try to find the answer they're looking for. Here we're going to give them really every single answer kind of side by side in their catalog, all in one place. So as a repeat here, you're seeing a copy of the title, as well as a description that we just covered, those same links of business glossary terms we were just talking about. And then additionally on this screen, as an admin or a content creator, I can then do things like create and apply training guides, custom links, user videos that give users additional background and training on various reports or groups of reports. We offer report lineage, as well as users can also share and subscribe and give feedback to different reports, of course, should you allow those features. Going to the bottom of the screen, We also offer a collaboration layer across all reports. And so should you also permit that feature, it gives users a way to kind of comment and collaborate and ask questions kind of in a public forum regarding specific reports or groups of reports to help get their answers met, as well as perhaps get their maybe thoughts or public feedback heard for maybe whatever maybe kind of commentary they might have. Of course, we also reserve space for like expert analysis, kind of pinned at the top of this collaboration kind of history for you as a creator to then pin, important announcements and updates or what have you, maybe specific to a specific, relevant to specific reports that perhaps, impact users, maybe usage for that day or week or so. Last on the screen, one important last feature here that'll kind of connect a few modules is that we also offer the ability to kind of extract and use filters in various reports and tools. And so you're seeing kind of here on this light blue bar on my screen, various different like filter selections that we at Metric Insights in this account have chosen to extract from this report. And then as a user, I can then interact with those fields to then apply filters kind of that way to different reports. And so with this functionality, then I can do things like create and save, custom or default views, both for myself and for, various groups of users in my organization to perhaps give them, shortcuts or perhaps even to kind of restrict their views to various aspects of BI reports, as well as kind of with this powerful ability, we can even do things like programmatically set views to different groups of users. And so maybe if you have, different territories, you could programmatically set, different countries with different groups of users, or maybe for different departments or different groups of users, and then give them, locked or default views. Likewise, kind of take advantage of that filtration ability here, shown here. Lastly, on this item is that as I navigate around, you might see that these filters kind of stick with me. So kind of that stickiness is just more additional help to kind of, preload for users' views as they navigate around same or similar reports to kind of give them that last view they're looking at to hopefully perhaps, again, get them answers, as fast as possible. So next, I'm going to navigate back to our home screen here. And let's talk about a couple other kind of foundational items and kind of get right to maybe beginning to kind of combine some of these modules together to really demonstrate kind of the full functionality that you can get with Metric Insights. So here on the left, we offer things like folders and categories as a means to organize and structure all of the content in your Metric Insights account. Again, regardless of where that content might actually live, it's common for organizations to kind of map and apply their existing security access structures. So things like, LDAP and AD groups to do things like, automatically sync perhaps a marketing category with a marketing team, sales with sales, and perhaps maybe, sales and marketing, or maybe various groups or maybe team leaders amongst those two departments. Categories offer a way to have things live in one place in Metric Insights, whereas folders are more freeform. And so with folders, users can do things like drag and drop folders to different, parent or child folders that they create. You can even permit regular users to create their own folders and share them with various other groups. Should you permit that, as well as users can also commonly, create and retain one or more favorites folders, for quick and easy access to the reports maybe that they visit most. Next, and of course, very important is that, again, once you begin to have content all in one place, centrally located for your users, we also offer BI search. And that offers a very powerful way for users to, search across the entire BI landscape that they, as a user, specifically have access to. And then, our search algorithm will rank results based off what it interprets users might be searching for the most based off kind of their input they give. And then of course users can quickly narrow down results based off various things like data sources of origin, as well as other important pieces of metadata that perhaps might get users closer to the content they're looking for on a faster basis. So again, empowering users based off the existing access they already have access to. So again, let's talk about some more higher level concepts. So say it again, once you have content all in one place, another important aspect you can use the Mentoring Insights is you can even layer on custom like landing pages or starting pages for users. That can be very powerful for perhaps simplifying kind of their BI work. So let's take advantage of this moment and let's log in as a BI end user. I'm going to change tabs in my browser. I'm going to log in here as this regular user. So as you can quickly see here, this user's view setup is much more restricted and much more focused and has been synced with the existing security access policies that my company, already only permits them access to. And by syncing with that access structure, we don't have to reinvent or change or disrupt, any of the, existing security access that perhaps our SSO team, or our various IT teams have already invested into the organization already. This user might have access to perhaps maybe a few categories with some specific content in those categories, or perhaps maybe some kind of current project folders that they're working on temporarily. And then, as they go about and navigate their content, they can even do things like access something, for example, that has been made discoverable for them. And so Mentoring Insights, of course, by default, typically enterprises are going to adhere and maintain to all of the existing security access that the various roles and personas allow different users and groups in their organization. But then for this specific report, you'll see it has a little padlock icon here. This means at some point, some creator has made this specific piece of content discoverable. So what that means here is that as a user is navigating around and they perhaps in their catalog view see a padlock report, or perhaps they see this report maybe in some search results, they can then click it, review perhaps a obscured preview image and maybe some other simple metadata, and then they can then click this request access button, and then it'll then trigger perhaps an email to some admin, or perhaps a ticket be automatically logged, perhaps in your ServiceNow or Jira, and it allows some creator to then review the access steps to potentially give this user access to this specific asset, while of course recording that access request and perhaps that permission given either again in perhaps one of your ticketing systems or here essentially in Mentoring Insights. But again, to kind of get back to landing pages, as we commonly see with our enterprise clients, our various end users, perhaps in finance, perhaps in HR, what have you. So even this kind of navigation paradigm can be too complicated for some users. And so this next landing page will then really highlight how Mentoring Insights can kind of simplify, BI for various users, around your organization, perhaps even around the globe. And so this might be an example of a template-based landing page that perhaps we might have this user start in, perhaps when they begin their day. And so with this case, we've then taken all of the exact same content this user already has access to and just, as simplified it as much as possible. Maybe giving this user some kind of quick links on the left of their screen, maybe on the right, perhaps some specific help resources they can then, get to at their fingertips. And then as users navigate, this very kind of, super simplified setup, they can then click around, click one of these links, and it'll take them to perhaps a short list of perhaps just the content they have access to, in that maybe category or folder, to then give them perhaps, as simple a navigation setup as possible, to kind of meet their needs and kind of their headspace with whatever their role in the organization. Back here, this template is just one of many. We have many different templates for you to make use of, or with Mentoring Insights, for these custom experiences, you can make entirely your own, and we'll even help you with that. That's very common as part of like free 30-day POCs, or maybe as part of account launch. It's a very common use case that organizations use. Let's go back to the admin screen here to kind of show off this in two more aspects. I'm going to shift tabs in my browser again. Let's actually go to, so that's kind of similar experience. Let's also showcase here as an admin. Perhaps we might also maybe with Mentoring Insights extract maybe specific KPIs or maybe figures that could be coming from various different aspects of maybe data warehouses or reports in your organization. With Metric Insights, we might apply like a template table, like you're seeing here, to then do things like, let's just extract maybe 16 different important figures, put them in this simple grid by perhaps maybe some kind of categories, apply that same filtering I was just showing a few minutes ago, to then now do things like apply some global filtering across all of those metrics. And then as users navigate around, they can then click one of these numbers, and it'll then load in their browser, the specific report that was powering that figure, for them to then, dig into further to get maybe the answer they were looking for. And of course, as I do this, as my same user, it then those same filter selections I was last looking at, stick with my session, and they preload for my view, the last kind of slice I was looking at for those reports, again, to kind of anticipate my needs and help get me the answer as a user as fast as possible. Let's go back here. That's kind of one example to kind of take multiple modules and kind of begin showcasing here what we can really do with all of these kind of aspects shown together. Another very powerful one is, let's say perhaps in your organization, maybe you have different tools. So maybe you have, like a Power BI, a Qlik, a Tableau here in your organization, or just various different data or BI tools. In Metric Insights, you can also use these custom templates to even, like, for example, display different whole different reports from different tools next to each other. Again, provide that same custom global filtering we were just looking at a second ago, to then here in the most powerful way apply now a true global filter across every different tool at the same time, which then perhaps gives you a now very important ability for various executives or team leaders to kind of get a complete cross section across your entire business. That is, again, based off of templates and shortcutted setup steps for your organization. So I'll show off just a couple more features here, then I'll get you back to your day. So far we've kind of been looking at ways to kind of get users to use the catalog, but of course we can also deliver the catalog to users kind of where they live. And so one very powerful and kind of easy way to do that is, again, at a high level, once you have everything in one place, and I maybe have some folders of some content, you can even do things like, let's take one folder of content and do a quick kind of digest, or maybe kind of daily burst of that content. So here I have, all the various aspects of content, in this specific folder, again, regardless of where this content comes from. And then perhaps based off some custom schedule, it could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be, whatever custom schedule you need. Maybe perhaps send an email, or perhaps send some digest to some other, perhaps the collaboration app your organization might use to then, preview this content. Give it a second to load, to then get maybe a group of users, this folder of content in some specific order that you need, perhaps, to their email inbox before they start the day, to kind of bring the content to them versus having to bring users to even a catalog, perhaps on some routine basis. This is just kind of one quick example of this, but if I change browser tabs here, you can see these digests can be colored, branded, logoed, formatted, for whatever kind of order and formatting you need. And of course, can even automatically include like things like custom PowerPoint reports that'll have, in preloaded slides, various reports in this folder, as well as like PDFs that can do the same thing. For example, all of that can be automated for you to kind of help, again, get users answers they need really as fast as possible. So lastly, we also offer things like usage across an account, and that tracks every piece of engagement and things like search results, as well as group and user behavior that various users or various groups might have. And that's, of course, all done by time as well, to ensure that all of the BI and adoption and engagement curves that maybe you have set up as goals for the organization, all that is being met, and that users aren't just like visiting the platform once, but they're coming back and re-engaging like you would use for very specific groups of asset, or maybe very specific reports that you have for the organization. As well as we also offer various governance tools, like, for example, publishing workflows as ways for you to publish, release, and certify for downstream end user consumption. Various reports and groups of reports for perhaps whatever kind of certification and governance needs you might have. And of course, we'll be happy to talk to you more about that in a custom session for you.